When I read the film, as I have to say that really anyone we shared it with, it read like a beautiful short story or like a little novella or something, and I could see it immediately. And I related. There were two things that I loved about the character. On one side, it was a great opportunity for me because I tend to play very sort of proactive women who kind of really like walk into a room and make a mess and then walk out and leave everybody in their dust. And the fact that Jeremy thought I could play this role was so interesting to me because she's so passive. You know, she's really this woman who's numb and cut off and isn't capable of really making changes in her life, except for this one time when she walks out on her reality. So as a personal challenge, it was great. And so far as it being relatable, I think it's completely related. It just taps into that fantasy that we all have of what if you could just stop the world? What if you could just, you have those moments in your life where maybe sometimes you're like sitting on an airplane or you're in some suspended moment in time, and just for a moment you feel free. Just for a second that your responsibilities are not on your shoulders, and you can't live in that space forever, but to be able to find that moment of liberation from yourself is something I think that many people can relate to. I can definitely relate to, and I feel like Jeremy really created that. And then what I love so much about the story is at the end everybody needs to go home. Eventually you got to go home and you got to go back and face your responsibilities, but hopefully you take that feeling with you when you return.
When I sat down to write this movie, it came out very easily. It's based on my own experience of breaking free of a life that I was trapped in, or a time in my life that I was trapped in, that I wanted to explore. And I also wanted to pay honor to a relationship that I had been in that had now passed, but I wanted to sort of have it be a positive memory of mine. So I wanted to explore that relationship. I also wanted to take a vacation up to this New England summer home, which is actually in my family's. I've been in my family for over a century, and I hadn't been in 5 or 6 years. When I was getting to write about it, I was getting to write about this cottage that I had grown up in, that my dad had grown up in. So it was very personal in getting to explore that. And then the need to tell the story was, when you're starting out, you have to do a lot of generating your own work. And I wanted to do something that we could shoot and that we could get together realistically, and it was something that we could get a strong cast behind by really focusing on characters that were a little bit juicy and subtle and had layers to them, which is something that you can easily pull a lot of actors from, because there's a lot of actors who are working and they have their success that are on the outside, but they might be playing a lab tech for 10 years on a TV show, and they might want to get to do something that makes them sweat a little bit more. A wonderful comment from one of my actors who works, who was just like, I just loved getting bruised and battered today. And then an independent film has that opportunity, I think, for people to get to break out of their mold a little bit.
On any independent film, there's a phrase, it takes a village, and it's never more true than a movie like this. It's a team effort. Everyone is doing everything they can to make sure that the movie gets made. And at the end of the day, it's really about what's on the screen and making sure that you're creating the environment that what does end up on the screen is the best that it can be. Any budget, a big budget blockbuster, you're always going to want more money. That's always going to be an issue. You never have enough. So it's same, just different struggles, different issues. You've got to be a lot more creative in the way that you solve problems. It's really about problem solving in a lot of ways. But I think at the end of the day, it can be a good thing as well. You tend to be more creative, take chances, try different things. Financially, there's maybe not as much at stake, so you're not beholden to the same things you might be with a studio project. And it can be a lot of fun as well. And I think our movie was a really good example of being very creative. We had a really good, strong, tight-knit team. Especially the three of us and Michael, who I mentioned before as well, really believed in the project and wanted to get it made, and it I think shines through very well in the movie. I think rather than just wanting more money, you want more time on an independent movie. You want to have the resources to allow you to be able to give the production team everything they need in order to do what they want to do. And sometimes that comes down to more days of shooting, and that's not always feasible. So I think that was the hardest thing for both this movie and any independent movie, I think.